handsomely. But it's time for you to prove what you can do in the postseason now and get us what we ultimately all want, which is a championship. So I think that's the big missing piece here. And if there was an agent, I think this might be done by now. That's just my gut.
Well, we'll see. If it's not done by tomorrow, it appears that it will not get done at all this season. Now, I'm going to bring Shefty and Damian Woody and Rob Ninkovich into the conversation in a few minutes, so we'll do a lot more football. But self-servingly, I have one baseball question for you as the voice of baseball as you have been for more than 2 decades. In the American League right now, Aaron Judge has hit 55 home runs. Shohei Ohtani, meanwhile, has done things that we've not seen anyone do since Babe Ruth, maybe not even Babe Ruth. If you had a vote right now, who wins the AL MVP?
Aaron Judge, hands down. Now, Ohtani won last year, and you're right. He did last year and is doing it again, something we've never seen. You know, John Smoltz, who I work with and deeply respect, said if he just concentrated on pitching, he'd be Jacob deGrom. And then you add in the power and the way he can run and everything. He's unbelievable. Great guy. But Judge on a first-place team, as they're hanging on in the AL East by 5 games now, without him, they're not where they are clearly, and he's 6 away from tying the Yankees franchise record for home runs. To me, it's Aaron Judge, and it's him winning his first in the American League.
I completely agree with that. And actually, if for those who are paying attention, the way he is carrying them right now, it's almost like he's the entire team. I can steal 1 more minute, so let me ask you about Albert Pujols. Obviously, all those great years in your hometown of St. Louis, he's now 1 home run away from tying Alex Rodriguez for 4th most all time. How do you put it in perspective?
I just think not enough is being made of it nationally. Yeah, I'm sitting here in St. Louis, so I hear about it every day. I spent an hour with Albert yesterday interviewing him down at Busch Stadium. The look in his eye, the way he's looked at the plate since the All-Star break, with his hands and the confidence he has in those hands. I mean, he looks like the old Albert. People thought he was washed up 5 years ago, and now he's 5 home runs away from being the 4th guy ever to hit 700 home runs in the big leagues. It's an incredible story. He's a wonderful person, and I'm rooting for him to get not just past A-Rod, but up to 700 before the end of the year, because he told me unequivocally he is not coming back next year.
All right, I will say this. If you ever do miss talking baseball, we're a day away from the finish line for Lamar and the Ravens. The question is, what happens when they don't reach it? Shefty is here with the answer. And then, oh no, the last thing that could afford to happen in Green Bay has happened. So now what? For Aaron and the pack, we've got all the answers as we get up with you, starting right now. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, and we are delighted to present professional football live and in color for the first time in 207 days. That was 207 days ago that the Rams won the Super Bowl. Come on over here with me if you would, please, because we are ready for the start of the NFL season tonight in a big way. Ninko is here. D. Wood is here. Shafty has got all the stories, including one right off the top for you. Plus, we got Dominique and Joe Buck coming up in just a few minutes because tonight it begins. And the line, it opened months ago from Caesars. The Rams were 1-point favorites. Since then, it has moved in the opposite direction. Buffalo currently a 2.5-point favorite on the road tonight in LA. Defending Super Bowl champs playing in the season opening game are 14-3 since 2004, but Vegas likes that trend to get bucked by the Bills tonight. And we begin right off the bat with news from Shefty. As I'm walking here from doing a KJM across the hall, I'm getting updates from Adam Schefter on Matthew Stafford. What do we have?
Well, great. There's been a lot of talk about Matthew Stafford and his elbow during the offseason. The fact of the matter is, after the season, he underwent a procedure to have that elbow cleaned up, to strengthen it for this upcoming season. And the people that have watched him throw in camp say that he's been better than he was at this time last year, and he feels better right now than he did going into the season last year. Last year, he finished 2nd in the NFL in touchdown passes. So despite all that elbow pain, despite whatever it was that he had to play through, I think all the work they did this offseason and the fact that they managed him how they did during the summer has led them to this moment, to tonight, where the Rams will defend their Super Bowl championship with Matthew Stafford feeling about as good as he can feel at this stage in his career.
All right, so that's the good news for L.A. The bad news for L.A. is that the preseason MVP favorite is on the other side. And, Ninko, what were you telling me this morning about facing Josh Allen?
It's impossible to stop Josh Allen. You're not going to come into this game and say, we are going to stop Josh Allen and stop the Buffalo offense and marching down the field. What you want to do, I think back to playing Peyton Manning, and you go into that matchup saying, how do we steal a possession? How do we get a possession off of these guys? Because at the end of the day, when you're that good, like Josh Allen, you don't stop him. You don't literally go out there and say, oh, he's going to have under 150 yards. He's not going to throw for touchdowns, because he's going to go out there, he's going to produce, he's going to put up numbers. So how can LA steal a possession? Now, that comes down to game planning, pressure, getting pressure on the quarterback, making him make all the throws accurately every single time. So with that being said, when you come in with a game plan and you scheme something up to where you can steal a possession, that's when you get up a score and then you don't look back, because these are going to be two high-powered offenses, and it's going to come down to possession here, possession there. It always is when both offenses can produce a lot of points.
Well, the Rams have the ultimate possession thief. His name is Aaron Donald. What do you see tonight, D-Wood? What's the key? What will decide tonight's season opener and what could easily be a Super Bowl preview?
How about the guy that went from the Super Bowl champs to the Buffalo Bill and Von Miller? You know, we talk about pass rushers, elite pass rushers. Those are now called closers in today's game, because this league is so prolific as far as the passing game. Well, when you got a guy like Von Miller who knows the personnel on the other side of the ball, he practices against those guys all year long. So don't think that Von Miller doesn't know this Rams offensive line. He could play a pivotal role tonight in helping the Buffalo Bills try to close out against the Los Angeles Rams.
You bring up Aaron Donald, and Rob brings up Josh Allen. And I think it's also important to note this is the first game tonight for the new Bills offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. Brian Daboll goes to coach the New York Giants. Let's see what the Bills offense looks like with somebody else calling the shots here at the offensive coordinator position, because the way they looked last year might not necessarily be the same tonight.
All right, going to be fascinating, and you can't ask for more from an opening game. Let's very quickly tell you who we think is going to win, and then there's a lot of other business I want to get to. But, Ninko, I'll start with you. The Bills, I mentioned, are a favorite on the road tonight against the Super Bowl champs. Who do you like tonight? I'm
going with the Bills. I think Josh Allen's my MVP pick. He's going to go out there. He's going to perform at a high level. And I think the Bills get it done.
D-Wood.
I'm going with the Bills. I think, you know, we've been talking about the Bills now, it seems like for a couple of years. I think this is their time.
So the Rams are the defending Super Bowl champions. They've gotten better by adding Bobby Wagner and Allen Robinson, and they're home underdogs. And Sean McVay, in his 6 seasons as the head coach of the Rams, never has been under 500. If he loses tonight, he'd be under 500 for the first time in his career.
I'm wearing green today? I'm wearing money green today. Come on now.
So what are you telling me, Schefter? What are you telling me?
He's telling you that the Rams are going to win tonight. Put my pick on the screen. That's what he's telling you. The Rams are going to win the opener tonight. That's what he's telling you. In the meantime, the big story in the NFL is actually the ticking clock in Baltimore, where Lamar Jackson has set tomorrow as his deadline to get a new contract done with the Ravens. If there is no deal by then, he says he will suspend negotiations for the rest of the season. Listen.
As of right now, you know, we're still talking. You know, the week's not over yet, but soon, probably be a deadline, probably be cut off after this week.
How much closer do you feel now toward a potential agreement?
I have no clue. You know, you have to ask the guy who I'm talking to. Talk to the gym about that.
Do you feel this is any kind of a risk not having a contract signed before the start?
I mean, it was a pretty big risk last season, the year before. You know, I'm just playing football. You know, anything can happen, but God forbid, the wrong thing happen.
All right, so that's Lamar. And again, we are 24-plus hours away from a deadline that could change a lot of things in the NFL. Shefty, what the actual heck is going on behind the scenes?
Well, the fact of the matter is Lamar Jackson has a decision to make here in the next 24 to 36 hours, and that's whether or not he wants to take an offer in excess of what is thought to be $200 million. This is an offer that would change his future. And so it's a strange phenomenon, because you're practicing for Sunday's game against the New York Jets, and then when you go inside the building, let's go talk contract again, and let's see if we can finish this off. So I think that's why he wants to get everything really finished off one way or another, whatever it is that Lamar Jackson decides, so that he doesn't have to go out and practice and then come in and do the contract, because right now, Lamar Jackson wants to be Lamar Jackson the quarterback, not Lamar Jackson the agent, being that he's doing his own deal.
There has been less information coming out of this one, perhaps because there are fewer people involved, right? No agent and all that. There has been less information coming out of these negotiations than we are accustomed to. That said, do you have any sense of how close it is? I mean, you heard him. If I were to try and interpret what I just heard Lamar Jackson say, it sounds to me like he's saying, ask them if we're getting closer, because I've told them what it's going to take, and either they're going to get there or they're not. That's what it sounds to me like he's saying. Do you have any sense of whether or not people think they are close enough to get this thing done in one day?
I believe it's on Lamar Jackson to make that decision. And Baltimore and Lamar Jackson have been talking throughout the offseason. So I can't imagine that all of a sudden, at the 11th hour, Baltimore is going to dramatically alter its offer. So Lamar Jackson's got to make that decision. Again, it being on him. Is he willing to take an offer that would set up the children of his children's children? Or is he willing to ride it out again the way he did last year, wisely, to see the quarterback prices increase the way they have? And is he going to gamble on himself again, bet on himself again, try to take the $200 million to $300 million, or whatever it is that he desires? It's a huge decision with enormous ramifications. And again, the biggest thing that he'll do here in the next 36 hours is decide whether or not to sign that deal before he goes and plays quarterback on Sunday.
In the meantime, D. Wood, you played in the league a really long time, and you understand in particular the amount of responsibility that there is on a quarterback. Can you imagine a player in his position out there? He's in practice all day, he's in meetings all day, and then, okay, let's go inside and let's all sit in a room here and continue our negotiations. Because, again, he's handling this himself. It is, when they say distraction, I mean, that really is the definition of a distraction for a player.
Yeah, listen, me personally, I mean, I go more the conventional route, but when it comes to Lamar Jackson, I don't see that to being a distraction to him. I think Lamar Jackson is honestly going to go scorched earth this year. I really do. I think Lamar Jackson, if this deal doesn't get done, he's going to like, who gives a damn? I'm going to go out here and I'm going to ball and I'm going to get paid. And I'm not even going to think about the injury aspect of it. Dak Prescott got injured and he still got paid. And I think Lamar Jackson, his sole focus, obviously wants to get the deal done. Well, I think Lamar Jackson hears the noise that people have been saying about, had a little bit of a down year, even with the injuries on the team. And he's ready to let everybody know, like, listen, while y'all talking about Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, don't forget about me, because I have won an MVP in this league.
I think that's right. And look, I mean, once upon a time in